Hello, beautiful souls. You're listening to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancis. Did you know that you can listen to this show everywhere podcasts are found? It's true. Now, I have 3 free gifts just for you. First gift, I give away a new reading each week to a person who's left a 5-star positive review of this show, then submitted it to me using the contact form at theangelmedium.com/contact. I hope I'm calling your number next. Second gift, if you'd like a new daily angel message, join me on Insta at Angel Podcast. Third free gift. If you'd like to know the name of one of your guardian angels so that you can work with them even more closely, go to the homepage of my website, theangelmedium.com, and submit your contact info at the very top. I'll email you back personally with the name of one of your angels. Okay, as we begin the show, I want you to feel the presence of your angels surrounding you. And just know that the loving, positive messages you resonate with today are messages for you from your angels and loved ones on the other side. Oh, and don't forget to register for the spiritual retreat because the early bird pricing is ending June 30th. We don't want you to miss it. Sign up over at theangelmedium.com/retreat. That's theangelmedium.com/retreat. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Angels and Awakening podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancis. And friends, we have never had an angel story where a person on the other side, loved one on the other side, uses Morse code to connect with a loved one here on earth. But you are going to be amazed at this story today. Anastasia, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be able to share this.
Yay, me too. Anastasia and I first connected in a session that I did for her a couple weeks ago. And she goes, Julie, do you have some time at the end? And I just so happened to. And you shared this story. And I go, oh my goodness, you have to share this with the audience. So I'm so excited for them to hear this. And I'll have you take it away and share your story.
Okay, thank you. So, back in 2013, my brother Peter passed. He died from complications with diabetes. He lived by himself and he had caught the flu and he passed away from a coma, in a coma. The morning that it happened, I had happened to be out shopping. I got a phone call and the phone call, I missed it. And so I tried calling back. And when I called back, I got a business that I didn't recognize. So I said, oh, it's just a missed phone call and it's a wrong number. So I ignored it. Later that evening, my sister called me in a panic. She said, my phone's been out of charge all day. I just charged it. And I got a bunch of phone calls from Peter's work saying he hadn't come in today. And they were worried because he's very punctual and he's very reliable and he really liked and loved what he did. So I immediately panicked. I started calling hospitals and the police, and I sent the police to his apartment and they found him. He had passed. And for me, that was personally so devastating because all I could think in my head was, if I had just not missed that phone call, they could have gotten to him soon enough and possibly saved him. So that was just breaking my heart. So a couple of days later, my sister and I are putting together the funeral arrangements. And, between crying and thinking in my head over and over again, Peter, I just need to know you're okay. I just need to know you're okay. As I'm sure, like a lot of people do. I've grown up Catholic, so I believe in God. I believe in the afterlife. But when something like this happens, you begin to doubt, and your heart just breaks. You don't know what to think, and you're angry. So I decided, okay, I need to just decompress. So I'm going to sit down in front of the TV. I'm going to forget about everything. I'm going to watch some silly little stupid sitcom and I'm just going to relax. So I turn on the TV, I sit down, and the TV is just flashing on and off and on and off. And thinking to myself, like, I really need this right now. All I want to do is relax. So I run downstairs to the basement. I shut off the cable box. I turn it back on. And anybody who has cable knows that's what you do to fix it. So I come back upstairs. I sit down again, and it's still flashing on and off and on and off. And I'm so angry. But all of a sudden, I stopped and I said, hang on a second. This is consistent. This is happening in a consistent flashing on and off. And the thing you have to know about my brother is that he loved, as a kid, World War I movies. And he was very into computers and electronics. And he had like old model planes from World War I that he had put together, and he had merchandise. And oh my God, we watched those black and white movies. So it was kind of, so we were immersed in it. And so he would know Morse code. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, this is Morse code. And I got my phone and looked it up. And it was Morse code, just two letters, O and K, over and over, O and K. And I knew that that was him, reaching out and saying, I'm with you. I'm okay. Don't worry. Don't feel badly. Um, this is not your fault. This is what was happening. This was what was meant to be. So it was very comforting. It was really beautiful. And I was so lucky to have a brother who knew Morse code and also was able to reach out like that to me so specifically. It was beautiful.
That is just unbelievable. I love that just vivid image I get of you seeing the TV flashing and at first being like, "What is going on?" And then realizing that it is Morse code. And just repeat for everybody, like, what it was flashing, because when you went to look it up, it was saying, "I'm okay."
Yeah, it was saying two letters, just two letters, flashing two letters um, in Morse code, obviously flashing O and then K.
I mean, every
And
time I hear that, I get goosebumps.
I know he was a smart guy, super smart, very ingenuitive. And I could see that's exactly what he would do. He was just that kind of a guy, super smart. Um, so I mean, but that's not the only time he reached out. He's reached out very specifically. And the next time he did it, years later in 2020, was to my husband.
Mm.
We have a beach house where we go out and we invite family and friends all summer long. It's what we love to do. And he would go out there with us a lot. And he would put around the house because he was a fix it kind of guy. And my husband was not. And so my husband, Ed, and he would go around the house and fix things up, and they'd chat and they'd laugh and they'd have a really good time. So after he passed in 2020, my husband was out with another friend trying to fix things in the house, specifically in our pool house. And it wasn't going well. And all he could do is talk about Peter to his friend, like, when Peter was here, he could fix all this stuff. It wasn't a problem. He got it done. And they were laughing. And then they started joking about how funny he was. And all of a sudden they looked up and there was this carbon monoxide detector on the wall, and it had an LED screen. And on the screen were two letters, E and D. And it was obviously my brother Peter was there with them, hearing them chat, laughing with them, remembering, having such a good time with them. And I actually even have a picture if you want me to show it to you.
Yes. And what
So
does the ED mean to you?
it's my husband's name, Ed.
Yes. Ed.
Here we go. I don't know. Can you see it?
Oh my gosh, yes. Just lower it just a bit so that the people on YouTube can see it. Perfect.
Okay.
Ed, Oh my goodness. Which is just crazy because you never see an E on those things. It might be a 3 or an 8, but that is clearly, an E.
And after they took the picture and talked about it, it went away and it never came back.
Oh
So
my goodness. Ready for a little getaway that completely resets your energy? We're hosting a live in person spiritual retreat called A Whole New You. It's the weekend of October 4th in Oak Brook, Illinois. This spiritual retreat is all about your own personal healing and growth, reconnecting with yourself, learning to connect with your angels. And I'm going to talk about all new angels that I've never talked about anywhere before. And you're going to leave with more personal peace, purpose, clarity, and confidence than ever before. Learn more and see the itinerary at theangelmedium.com/retreat. That's theangelmedium.com/retreat. Links are in the show notes. And friend, I cannot wait to meet you and hug you in person. What's
yeah,
wild.
yeah.
Okay, so I have to tell you that as you've been sharing these stories, Anastasia, and I want the listeners to hear this so that they kind of track with the progression of how spirit brings through a message. When you're first talking about the first story, your brother kept showing me, and spirit often shows me this, the angels too, that it's not like they come inhabit the technology here or inhabit a bird, but it kind of looks like Pinocchio, where you have this puppet on the ground and these strings coming up, and they're able to play with the strings. So I got that vision first from your brother, and then that vision dissolved within my mind. And this other vision, like the poster, the cover of the movie Interstellar, and I go, okay. And then he flickered to a scene within that movie. And I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, Anastasia. Um,
Haven't.
but it's not a movie about outer space. I believe really the writers were talking about our relation with the other side. So if you watch it through that lens, um, the dad's on the other side. This little girl is in her bedroom, and this dad goes into this kind of realm of space where there is no time. And he's moving the energy from the other side to manipulate this clock in real time that his daughter would find. And he uses like Morse code, dots and dashes to get through this message to his daughter. So I know it's not a dad and daughter for you, but your brother is asking you to please go watch that movie because, in the exact same way, he's messing with the energy from the other side. And I'm just so glad that you're seeing the message, because so often we don't. And I know we talked about this in our session, but I hope you don't mind me saying he doesn't want you to feel any guilt. And I really hope that you release that from your heart, because he comes in and he says, it was my time. It was my time. And he
Mhm.
goes, nothing was going to change that. Nothing was going to make it different. And so he said, release yourself of that, because it's not fair for you to place that heaviness, that burden on yourself.
Mhm. Thank you for saying that. But you know what? I think him coming through like that made me realize that he is so happy where he is. And every once in a while, I hear a little something from him, and he's like, "You can't imagine how beautiful it is here." So I'm really happy for him. And I know that might sound strange because I miss him, but I know he's very, very happy.
Yeah. And I know we
Mhm.
talked about this in the session too, but I keep getting this vision of him showing me, because I know he didn't have a wife and kids here, but he has that from the other side. And I keep seeing him with his family over there.
And you know, it's funny that you said that because that was something that always went through my mind because he was such a good guy and I'm sure that might have been in his future had his future been different, but that was something that I personally regretted for him. So you saying that actually is a really nice and comforting thing.
Yay. I
Mhm.
believe you have another story too of doves, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm very lucky. I guess I've had never seen signs before my dad passed. My dad passed in 1993. He died very suddenly after he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, very aggressive pancreatic cancer. And it was tough. It was a surprise for our family. And I had just become engaged to my husband, and we were getting married in like 6 months. So I was really looking forward for him walking me down the aisle. And so it was hard, as it is for anybody who loses a parent, no matter what the circumstances is. But I would spend a lot of my husband lived in New York City, and I would spend a lot of time in his apartment. And he lived in the back of the building, and it was very quiet, this quiet courtyard. And right after my dad died, I noticed there was a mourning dove. And anybody who knows a mourning dove, it has this beautiful, peaceful hoot. It like just hoots like an owl, but very softly. And they look like a pigeon, but they're not. They're doves. And it would sit out on his windowsill and just start hooting. And I had never heard it before. We had been dating for years and I had never heard it before. So I just kind of knew, like, this is a sign from my dad telling me that he's here with me and that he is always going to be with me. And people might say, it's a dove. There's a lot of those in New York City. That's not a big deal. But I moved at least, so we've been married about 30 years now, and I moved at least 5 times when I was in New York City. Lots of different apartments, houses. Every single house, when I move in, a mourning dove shows up, sits in my backyard, sits on my window, and hoots, hoots, hoots. And I just know that that was his hi. I'm still with you. I'm still following you. I'm still watching over you. But even better, when it was validated, I actually went to see a medium, not, I don't know, too long after he died. And at the end of her reading with me, she said, out of the blue, now I didn't know this woman, she didn't know me. And she said to me, "Hey, what's with the mourning doves and your father?" And I was
Doesn't
like,
get any more clear than that.
what? I was like, how could you have known that? And it's so random. She's like, "What is a mourning dove?" She didn't even know what a mourning dove was. But my
Wow.
dad wanted for me to know that, yes, you're not imagining things, stop doubting it. It is me, and I'm just saying hi. Um, but even more so, which I love. So since that point in time, my mother, my dad, and my brother are now passed. And I'm not a big athlete, but I decided as a bucket list item to do a triathlon. And they're tough. A lot of swimming, a lot of running, a lot of biking. And throughout the triathlon, I was saying in my head, "Mom, Dad, Peter, please watch over me. Please help me get through this." And I felt them, but you just never know. You doubt yourself. And at the end, finished. I was exhausted. I was tired, but I was excited. And so when I got home, um, I I live on a very busy street, a lot of foot traffic, a lot of car traffic, a lot of noise. And I walked to my front door because I live in a townhouse, and on the sidewalk were three mourning doves standing in front of my door. And I have never seen a mourning. Honestly, pigeons don't even sit here. I mean, this is New York City, and they don't even sit in front of our house, like maybe in a tree or something like that. But this was the three of them saying, "Hey, we were with you. Congratulations. We're so proud of you." It was such a pretty and loving sign. So mourning doves are my family sign to be saying hi.
Oh, I love that so much. And this isn't something that I've shared on the podcast, but normally I talk about when I see the two cardinals, I always recognize that as my grandma and my dad. But as soon as my grandma passed, my mom's mom, I started seeing 3 cardinals together, and it's so wild how when the circumstances change and we have another loved one on the other side, we do see the signs shift as well, and
Mhm.
it just warms my heart so much. I love your stories, Anastasia. Thank you for sharing them.
Absolutely. I'm blessed to have been able to recognize them. And I hope other people start recognizing too and looking, because I know they're always coming through trying to, and validating their signs really is important for them too, to know that you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that so much. And I believe that all of them are doing so much work from the other side. I've met so many people who have similar circumstances like I do with my dad passing. And then in some ways, their lives shift and they begin to work on something. And I believe that our loved ones on the other side, even all of the angel stories that are shared, are them from the other side wanting to bring more hope and joy and love into this world. So, oh, thank you for sharing.
Sure. Glad I could.
Of course, anybody listening, if you have angel stories, we would just love to have you on the show as well. You can go over to theangelmedium.com to the contact page where you can submit your angel story, and we'll have you here on the show. Friends, I need your help reaching as many people as possible. If you'd like to support this podcast and help us spread more hope to the world, please book a session with me, join my angel membership, or take my angel Reiki school. What's the difference? If you'd like to know what messages your angels and loved ones have for you, you'll want to book a session with me. The angel membership is all about your own personal spiritual healing. The membership takes you on a spiritual journey that teaches you how to create your own heaven on earth. And the Angel Reiki School is for those who want to get certified in mediumship, angel messages, and energy healing all at once. These are 3 ways you can help us share a message of hope and love with more people than ever before. Register for one or all 3 at theangelmedium.com. That's theangelmedium.com. Now, let's pray together. As we do, I want you to pray in a way where you feel as though everything you want for yourself and the world has already come true, and you're giving thanks. Why? Because this is the best way to manifest. So let's begin. God, universe, source, thank you. We're so grateful that you've blessed this world with calm and peace for all. This calm and peace has spread like ripples, soothing the hearts of every soul. Thank you for opening our hearts to abundance, allowing each of us to live our most authentic life, and helping us to create our own heaven on earth. We thank you for the love and deep heart to heart connection that surrounds us every day in our relationships. We thank you for the abundance of health and aliveness we feel radiating from every cell in our and our families' bodies. Thank you for the gift of walking this life with us and guiding us every step of the way through your messages. We hear you through our own intuition, and we feel you walking right by our sides, and we overflow with gratitude. Thank you for financial abundance, an abundance of opportunities, miracles, blessings, and prosperity in every way. We know that you want us to succeed so that we can show others how you want them to succeed too. Thank you for the boundless love, kindness, empathy, and compassion that binds us all together. Thank you for the laughter, fun, moments of pure delight that fill us every day, especially today. God, Universe Source, thank you for blessing us beyond measure and allowing us to use our souls, gifts, talents, skills, and abilities to serve the world. We love you. I love you. And in this we pray. Amen. Friends, we're working on some pretty major things over here. And if you wouldn't mind saying a little prayer that these things come to fruition if they're God's will. We'd so appreciate it. And please add a little prayer in for any specific thing you need right now, too. Have a beautiful, blessed day. And don't forget to submit your contact info at theangelmedium.com if you'd like me to channel the name of one of your angels for you. Sending you peace, bliss, and many blessings.